2022 NBA Draft, the Detroit Pistons select Jaden Ivey from Purdue University. Let's go!
Hold on.
You know what I'm saying?
That's little bro right there.
What a moment.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to Q's Hot Takes. And on today's show, I'm going to break down the NBA draft, tell you who had the best drafts and who had the worst drafts. And also, I'll share the top 10 and I'll kind of share a little bit about which each one of them does really well and all that. So, why don't we go ahead and get into it? And first, I'm going to share the guys who went in the top 10. We'll start with the number one overall pick, which the Orlando Magic had, and they took Paulo Banchero from Duke, an explosive athlete. When he's going downhill, attacking the rim, he's very hard to guard. I think that's something he needs to do a lot more of in the pros, because one of the things that frustrated me was when you could see nobody could guard him, when he was attacking, but he would settle for jump shots and settle for three-point shots too much. So hopefully in the pros, since there'll be more space for him to operate, I'm hoping that, he'll drive more and not settle as much as he did in college. And I think Orlando, I think they probably got the best out of the three here. I think Paulo is probably going to have the best career out of these three, but you couldn't go wrong with any of them because it wasn't a definitive number one like in 2019 with Zion or a year like that. So Orlando, I think they just need to add some veteran pieces because it's going to be very hard to win in this league when most of your team is under 25. So we'll have to see. I know they're talking about trading Mo Bamba just because they have so many forwards and power forwards, centers, and stuff like that. So it'd be interesting to see if they can get a veteran wing player, or just a veteran presence for their locker room, like Memphis did. I'm going to talk about Memphis later on in the show and about the great draft that they had. But I think they just need to add some, veteran guys to this young team. And I think maybe they can make some noise at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. So we have to see. But Paulo, I think he's going to be really great for them. And I think he's going to be in the running for Rookie of the Year next year. So we shall see. Number two, the Oklahoma City Thunder. They had that pick. They went with Chet Holmgren, center from Gonzaga, rim protector. He has handles like a guard. I know the biggest question about him is, will his frame hold up, because Chet is very thin. And if he has to go up against a guy like Joel Embiid, yeah, he's going to have the length to, bother Joel Embiid. But if Embiid puts his shoulder into him, he may go flying. I know something he struggled with during his freshman year of college was when their competition went up. His numbers weren't the same as if they were playing Georgia State or a smaller school like that. He would go off and put up gaudy numbers against schools like that. But I didn't like what I saw against Memphis, and really I didn't like what I saw against Arkansas. I know he got in foul trouble, and that kind of really threw everything off with him. But the Thunder, you just couldn't pass up on a guy like Chet with his size, 7'1", long arms, the way he can protect the rim. You just couldn't pass up on that. So we have to see if he can help get the Thunder back to the playoffs. I think they made it for like 5 or 6 straight years, and then the last 2 years, we know they've been one of the worst teams in the league. So Chet, with his swagger, we'll see if he can bring that excitement back to basketball in Oklahoma, because they are known as Loud City. And when that team is really good, that arena gets really loud. So we have to see if Chet can help turn around this team, because they have some good young pieces. So we just have to wait and see. At number 3, the Houston Rockets selected Jabari Smith, a power forward from Auburn. He really can score, high motor on both ends of the floor. He'll really get after it. I'm excited to see him and Jalen Green pair up. I think they're going to be a fun young duo to watch. And hopefully they can get Houston basketball back on the map. because from 2013 to 2019, I think they were in the playoffs every year. And they most years they made a decent run in the playoffs. So can they get back to that? We shall see. They have some great young pieces. I'm going to talk about the rest of the Rockets draft later on in the show because they did a really good job in the draft. So I'll go more in depth about Jabari Smith and some of their other picks later on in the show. But getting him at 3, I know most people thought he would go number 1, but Paulo, he got some late steam, late Wednesday night, early Thursday that he was gonna go number 1, and it wasn't like Paulo didn't deserve to go number 1 because Paulo, Chet, and Jabari, all of them, it could have went either way. All of these are gonna be some great pieces for their teams, and hopefully all 3 of them can turn around 3 bad teams. So that's something we'll have to follow throughout the season, and I can't wait to watch all 3 compete in the summer league coming up, starting July 7th. Having basketball on all day, it's gonna be fun because I miss having some good hoops on. So looking forward to that. At number 4, the Kings took Keegan Murray, power forward from Iowa, microwave scorer. I mean, he can fill up in a hurry. He's a sniper, and this is another team that they're hoping Keegan can help turn around this franchise in Sacramento that hasn't been good for a very long time. They've missed the playoffs for 16 straight seasons. And the last time they made it was 2005, 2006. And 13 out of those 16 seasons, they either finished in 4th or 5th place in the Pacific Division in the Western Conference. And lately, it's been probably the toughest division in basketball. You got the Suns, you got the Clippers, you got the Warriors, you got the Lakers. So it's just really hard in that division. It's loaded. So I'm not sure if the Kings can, end this playoff drought because the West is just going to be so loaded this year. But hopefully they can get better and better and, finish a little better in their division. Because, like I said, 13 out of the last 16 seasons, they've been in 4th or 5th place. So pretty much in the basement of the Pacific Division. So we shall see. But I think getting a guy like Keegan to go with Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox, I think the Kings have something that they can build on. And we'll have to see. They got Mike Brown as their new coach. We'll have to see if he can turn things around and get Sacramento Kings basketball back to what they were in the early 2000s and the late 90s. So we have to see. Probably the pick in the top 10 that I'm most excited about is the Pistons at number 5 selecting Jaden Ivey, an exciting, explosive guard from Purdue. And the Pistons, when you make a pick like this, you get a guy like this, he puts people in the seats. Because I know anytime they show Piston highlights on TV the last couple of years, it's barely anybody there, because they've been so god awful. So you get a guy like Jaden Ivey, and he's going to help turn this franchise around. He's going to put excitement back into Pistons basketball. They have had 3 straight losing seasons since they made the playoffs in 2018 and 2019 season. During the 2018-2019 season, they haven't won a playoff series in 15 years since 2007, 2008. So hopefully Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Bey, they have some great young pieces. It's rumored that they're going to try to go after DeAndre Ayton. So we shall see. But, I mean, if you look at it, they got Jalen Duren, who's just a truck, a Mack truck. He's built like a Mack truck. He's a load inside. You got some good young centers in him and Isaiah Stewart. When Isaiah Stewart can control his anger and not try to fight the other team, he's a really good player. So we have to see what the Pistons do to get out of the basement in the Eastern Conference. So we shall see. At number 6, the Patriots took Benedict Mathurin, shooting guard from Arizona. He's an explosive, athletic guard. He won the Pac-12 Pac-12 Player of the Year last year, and he can really play. He's a bucket. He really can score, and it looks like the Pacers are going younger and really look like they're going to be in the rebuild phase because it looks like they're shopping uh, Miles Turner again. It seems like he's been on the trade block for the last couple seasons, and then Malcolm Brogdon. So it looks like they're trying to, get younger and just rebuild through the draft. So we have to see how that works out for them. And they got a great explosive guard and Benedict Mathurin. So we'll have to see how this works out for them. I really don't expect them to, make any noise in the Eastern Conference this year because I expect them to move some of their better pieces. Some of their better players, I should say, to, get younger and, like I said, ramp up on draft picks. So we have to see what the Pacers do this year. Next, at number 7, the Trailblazers, they took Shaedon Sharpe, shooting guard from Kentucky. He didn't play the season. If I'm understanding this correctly, I think he came in the middle of the season, like he enrolled during the winter, and all he did was practice with Kentucky. He never played, but he's a really elite scorer, and he will put somebody on a poster in a heartbeat. So the Trailblazers, they got a young, exciting shooting guard who can just fill it up and, make it where Dame doesn't have to do everything by himself. Simons, they got him as well, another explosive young guard who can just fill it up in the area as well. They traded for Jeremy Grant. We'll see how that works out with Dame. Just want to get him healthy, and they just need to really build up this team around Dame and Jeremy Grant. They really need to add some more pieces to this team because half the guys that they have, the rest of the guys that they have on this team, I'm pretty sure you never heard of these guys. So they need to really improve this roster to compete in the shark-infested waters that are the Western Conference. So we have to see how Portland improves his roster because right now it's not going to cut it. At number 8, the New Orleans Pelicans selected Dyson Daniels, a shooting guard from G League Ignite. All he really cares about is doing whatever it takes to help his team win. He's a really good passer, really doesn't care about scoring. He's not really a good shooter, but he really just wants to set the table for his teammates to eat. So with the pieces that they're going to bring back with CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion, their big three, they can keep Zion healthy. He's looking a lot slimmer. I think this Pelicans team is going to be a problem to deal with. So I think Dyson can, help set the table and let CJ eat, Brandon and Zion, and, where they don't have to worry about that. So the Pelicans, they got some good young pieces, and I think they're going to be a problem to deal with in the Western Conference next year. At number 9, the San Antonio Spurs, they took Jeremy Sohan, power forward from Baylor. He's really a guy that does all the little things, the dirty work for your team. 6'9", an athletic wing, who really gets after it. He reminds you of Patrick Beverley because he's a pest. He'll try to irritate the other team's players. He'll try to get under their skin. So this is a good piece for the Spurs. You need a guy like this who will do all the dirty work for you and, really try to take the other team's best players out of their games. So I think this is going to be a great pickup for them, and we'll have to see how he can, help this team, try to compete in the Western Conference. So we shall see. And then to round out the top 10, Johnny Davis, shooting guard / small forward from Wisconsin, elite scorer, Mr. Clutch during crunch time. He wants to take all the big shots. I think if Bradley Beal stays in Washington, we shall see. I think he can sign up to a 5-year, $200 and almost $40 million contract. So we have to see if he opts into that. And yeah, I think if he does stay, I think him and Johnny Davis, I think they could be an elite 1-2 punch. Who's going to give the other team buckets. If he doesn't, then I think Johnny Davis I think, he wouldn't mind, scoring 20 to 25 every night and putting his team on his back because that's what he loves to do. And whenever you need a big shot, he's the one that wants to take it. So that's the top 10. A lot of great explosive athletes. We got a lot of guys in this top 10 who can fill it up in a hurry. So I'm excited to see what these guys do in the league next year. In segment 2, I'm going to talk about who had the best drafts and who had the worst drafts. So we'll start with the teams who had the best drafts. For me, the Rockets getting Jabari Smith, power forward from Auburn, with the number 3 pick. High motor guy, smooth jumper, and he really gets after people on defense. I mean, he really, really gets after people on defense. So that's going to be something to watch, how he can help turn around this Rockets team. Tari Eason, the power forward that they got from LSU with the 17th pick in the first round. Another high motor wing. He's an improved scorer, and he's a lockdown defender as well. So I really like that, getting 2 wing guys who can, who really can lock people down, really get out the people on the defense end, and they both have high motors, so they're going to want to compete every night. So I think the Rockets, they did really well with these picks. So, we shall see how it works out for them and see if they can be better this year. And then the last pick that they had, they traded in the first round to get Ty Washington, who's a guard out of Kentucky with the 29th pick. Great facilitator. He can really run the show, maybe as a backup point guard off the bench, maybe, because they have Jalen Green. So I know he's probably not going to start. But maybe, give Jalen Green a blow where he's, doesn't have to play as many minutes. So I really like that pickup for them. And then we go to the Thunder. They have like 40 picks over the next 5 or 6 years. I'd be interested to see if they try to package some of those picks and try to, get a veteran presence for this young team. They have a young team as well. So we shall see. With their first pick, like I said, they got Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga, rim protector. He really can get after it on both ends of the floor. Like I said earlier, he has handles like a guard. He really attacks the rim. I guess the biggest question on him is, will his slender frame hold up? So we shall see. And then the Thunder, with their second pick in the first round, they selected Ousmane Dieng from the New Zealand Breakers. And like I said, he was acquired in the trade from the Knicks. He's a project. He really can shoot it. I think this is a guy that they'll, ease into it. And I think along the line, later on down the line, I think he'll be a really great piece for the Thunder. But I don't really expect him to contribute this year. But this is a great young piece project that they can, work with and develop. So we shall see. And then the very next pick, they got Jalen Williams from Santa Clara, and he was the first player since Steve Nash back in 1996, selected from Santa Clara. He's a bucket getter. He can really fill it up, provide some scoring for this team. I'm surprised he went so high, but I guess they felt like somebody was going to jump and get him, so they didn't want to take that chance that somebody was going to take the players that they wanted. So we have to see how he can help, this Thunder team try to rebuild and try to get back to the playoffs and, get more people into the seats. Because like I said earlier, when that team is really competitive and they're really good, that arena is one of the loudest arenas in the NBA. So we shall see. And then their last pick, they took another Jalen Williams from Arkansas, high motor guy. He does a little bit of everything. So I think he's going to be a really high energy guy for them, maybe that comes off the bench and provides energy and stuff like that for this team. So the Thunder, they had a really great draft, really got some great young pieces. We'll have to see how they continue to use these draft picks, whether it's to package them together and get a veteran piece, like I said earlier, or what. But like I said, they have almost 40 over the next 5 or 6 years, which is crazy. But we shall see what they do with all these picks. The next team that I thought had a really good draft was the Memphis Grizzlies. They came up short against the Warriors. If Ja doesn't get hurt, I think that series is a lot more interesting. And I think the Grizzlies potentially may have beat the Warriors, but we never know. It's unfortunate that Ja got hurt because I think that ruined a really good series between those two teams. So if we look here, they took Jake LaRavia at 19, power forward from Wake Forest. He's really good. Uh, he moves well without the ball, great passer, and way he really attacks. He has a nice mid range, so I think he's gonna really help them. The reason why I really love this David Roddy pick was because they traded Melton, their backup point guard, in this trade, and they picked up Danny Green, who's been to multiple NBA Finals. He has a lot of experience in this league, and I feel like that's all this team was really missing. Is somebody who has the championship experience, championship pedigree, and I'm excited to see what Danny Green can do with this young Grizzlies team. And then they got Kennedy Chandler, who's an explosive guard from Tennessee in the second round, and they got him via trade. Him and John Moran are really close, and that's going to be an exciting backcourt to watch next year. So the Grizzlies, I feel like they got a lot better. They added some pieces that maybe can help them get over the hump next year and go a little deeper in the playoffs. We never know. We just have to wait and see. And then I really like the Pistons draft. I alluded to it earlier. They got Jaden Ivey, who's going to put people in the seats in the Little Caesars Arena. And then you got Jalen Duren, who's built like a Mack truck. He's a load inside. So you get those two young pieces, and I think that's just going to help them get better and better around their young pieces that they already have on their roster. So we shall see. So I want to give our team here in North Carolina some love as well. I really like their first round selection, selecting Mark Williams at 15, because that's all they really needed was a center, a guy who could protect the rim. I couldn't tell you who their center was last year, but I know they needed one desperately. I was a little nervous when they traded the 13th pick away because I thought they could use both of these picks at 13 and 15 to get some guys that could help their team right now and get some young pieces to help build around the mellow ball. So I guess they felt like they only needed to get Mark Williams from Duke, who's an elite rim protector. You can throw him lobs, and I'm excited to see him and Melo in the pick and roll. I think it's going to be fun to watch in Charlotte next year. Now on to the teams who I thought had the worst drafts. The Knicks, I have no earthly idea what they were doing. They traded away the 11th pick, and then they traded away Jalen Duren to Detroit. And the reason why I was a little puzzled by that decision is because Mitchell Robinson is going to be a free agent. And I feel like a lot of teams are going to go after him because he's a high motor center who protects the rim. He does a little bit of everything. So you don't know if you're going to be able to get him back. So I was kind of puzzled about what they were doing. I know their fans were, confused just like I was. But they did load up on future draft picks. Maybe they can, use that in a signing trade or the trade to get, a point guard or somebody that can help turn this franchise around under Tom Thibodeau. So we shall see. It looks like they're all in on Jalen Brunson. They have his dad on the staff. I'm hearing some other options if they don't land him or Malcolm Brogdon. Like I said, the Pacers have him on the trading block. He's not going to play a full season. He hasn't done that, pretty much since his rookie year. Dejounte Murray from the Spurs. It's going to take a lot to get him. Maybe they use some of those draft picks that they have to try to get him, but it's going to take a huge package to get him out of San Antonio because he is San Antonio's best player, and that's why I was surprised that Murray was on the trading block. They were shopping around as a potential trade on draft night to get John Collins, which just didn't make much sense to me because he's coming off his best season last year. He's 6'5", and he runs the show. He's a true floor general. So That didn't make much sense to me, but that's probably the least likely scenario for the Knicks because it would just take too much to get him, and I don't know if they would want to, trade away all that to get him. Tyus Jones with the Grizzlies selecting Kennedy Chandler. Are they going to bring him back? I feel like it'd be foolish if they didn't bring him back because he was so vital off their bench. He was a huge piece. And then you got Kyrie Irving, who's we don't know what he's going to do, whether he's going to stay with Brooklyn or if he's going to want to go somewhere else, and if he wants to stay in New York. So we shall see. And another team who I wouldn't say had a bad draft, but I was really confused by, what they were doing. I was surprised that the Celtics didn't trade up and get Andrew Nembhard, who was the best guard in this draft. Now they did draft J.D. Davison, who's an explosive guard from Alabama. He really just needs to cut down on his turnovers. Almost had 100 turnovers this year. He only started in 6 games for Alabama. He came off the bench, provided a good spark for them. He's a deadly scorer. He can fill it up in the hurry. He's a great playmaker. Like I said, he just needs to cut down on the turnovers. But we have to see if this is going to work out for them. I mean, they got another guy who can score. I don't feel like he's the playmaker that Nembhard is, but they did get a great playmaker. So we shall see if this is the point guard that the Celtics needed to help, make life easier for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So that's one we'll have to wait and see on. And to close out the show, I'm going to talk about who I think will win Rookie of the Year. So I think Paolo Banchero, I think he's going to be in the run. He's probably going to be at the top of the rookie leaderboard for Rookie of the Year, just because I think he's going to be averaging, anywhere between 15 to 20 points per game and about close to 7 to 8 rebounds per game for the Magic. Jaden Ivey, I think he's going to put on a show in Detroit. And he's probably going to need to help them get out of the basement in the Eastern Conference. Jabari Smith, with Houston, he has such a smooth jumper. And just the way he can fill it up, I think he's going to be in the running as well. And then lastly, I had Johnny Davis with the Washington Wizards, just because of how much he scores and whether Bradley Beal stays or, if he decides to, do a sign and trade or leave the Wizards. If he leaves the Wizards, then I think Johnny Davis will probably be at the top of the rookie leaderboard as far as scoring per game. So those are the 4 guys who I think will be in the running for Rookie of the Year. So we just have to see how all these guys do during their rookie season in the NBA. So that does it for Keith's Hot Takes. I won't be back on until after the 4th of July. I'm going to have my good friend Isaac Shade from Locked On Tar Heel podcast on the show. We haven't set up a date yet for when we're going to record the podcast. He's on vacation with his family right now, but it's probably going to drop the Friday after the 4th of July or the following Monday after the 4th of July. So we're going to break down North Carolina. They brought all their starters back except for Brady Manick and adding Pete Nance in the portal and much, much more. So look forward to that after the 4th of July. I hope everybody is safe during the 4th of July. If you're in big crowds, mask up, be safe and protect yourself. COVID is still around, it's not over with. So just be safe and have fun. And I'll see you guys after the 4th of July. Peace.